there. So we know some things historically about how important assimilation is. We know that common language is the most powerful unifying force known throughout history. I can give you just a few examples. If you go back to China in about 246 BC, I'll never say this right if anybody knows the language, but the first emperor of China, I'm going to try it, Qi Shi Huang is how I pronounce the spelling that I see. He looked around there, and China was a whole series of different regions and provinces and 300 and some languages, and he decided he wanted to unify. He said they had the same similar cultures, they wore similar clothing, they ate similar foods, they did similar things, but they couldn't communicate with each other. So he began the process of unifying the Chinese people for the next 10,000 years, is what the first emperor of China said, and he hired scribes to draft a Chinese language for the purposes of unifying the people. They drafted that language. That's the 5,000 characters they have today. They don't all speak the same dialect, but they all write the same language. And that 5,000 can go to actually to about 50,000 different variations of those characters. Pretty complicated stuff, which I don't understand. But I do understand that he bound the Chinese people together. He's a fourth of the way there in his 10 millennia to unify the Chinese people under a language. And the Israelis, established as a country in 1948. In 1954, they passed legislation that they were going to adopt Hebrew as their official language. And so I asked the ambassador from Israel, why did you do that? And they said, well, we recognized the success that the United States had in assimilating people, and we wanted to have our common language, our official language, to tie us together. And they resurrected a language that was dead other than to prayer for 2,000 years and put that onto the streets of Israel. So now they have something that identifies them as an Israeli. And people that came from all over the world, of all colors and all languages, have moved into Israel, and they teach them Hebrew. And you have 6 months to learn Hebrew. You live in a well, I guess you call it a camp, but it's really not. It's apartment complexes. They're there again. I've been there to talk with them. They teach them the language, and once they learn Hebrew, in 6 months they say, okay, now you're ready. This was your nest. Now you're going to fly.